Hi, we're back.
Hello,
Lynn Hummer, the founder.
Dina.
Pregnant Mare Rescue.
Horse whisperer.
So I'm so excited that we were able to nail Lynn down for another interview. And today is a really special honoring the mothers, the mares that have come through the rescue.
All the moms.
Very, very good topic, especially for us mothers. There's a resonance there.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. However, so I'm going to get right on it so we can start asking Lynn some questions. So honoring the mothers, started the rescue in 2006 and are still going. We are in a moratorium of rescue right now.
Yes, we're on a big pause.
That's it. Just pause. We would like to get back to it. So, but we want to talk about the wonderful, wonderful mares that have come through. So I had a question. I have like 5 questions that I'd love for you to answer for me. What do pregnant mares teach us that people often overlook?
Okay, as I had just said a second ago, I wanted you to share that thought that you had shared with me about the public and their expectation on these mares.
Yes, and now and for what I've seen and what I've heard, because I've been a gentler of the foals for some time. There's a lot of opinion out there about how we need to wean them quickly, we need to handle them quickly, and what I've found through experiencing attunement and being present with the mare. Every mare is different. That there's a breeding mentality of let's get the job done. Mare is done. Foal's on the ground. Let's get her pregnant again so we can get another product to sell. And that's an ugly way to put it, but it is kind of the reality of it.
It's very accurate.
And so what we've experienced, I feel, is when those mares come in, they've had that kind of experience for years. That's all they do.
That's all they know.
That's all they know. And those babies are weaned at 4 months old. Mostly, and this is, again, my opinion and what I've experienced, is at 4 months, the mare is already weaning the baby from nursing because they're pregnant. They can't do both.
Yeah.
And I find that has an impact on the foal and the mother.
Yep.
Speaking of the mothers, when they learn that they have a voice here, it's quite loud. I think it's beautiful, and I think giving that mother a voice is so important.
Yeah.
But it's wild sometimes because you'll be like, wow, she was really subdued and like chill.
So submissive and shut down just to survive. I think that people, the general population of horse owners, don't really understand just how sentient these animals are. I didn't understand. I was going for a twofer with the very first horse that I rescued. It was like, oh, saved 2 lives. Great.
Yay.
I get a pony and I get a baby. But what transpired was that I learned to see through this observation that this mother was shut down. She had suffered neurological trauma. She was a great mother. She showed me so much more about what a mare is than just a horse having a baby. And then as my vision got broader, I started looking at the Premarin mares that are just held in stalls to have babies, not for the baby, but for the estrogen that they collect out of their urine. And then the breeding barns, if you have 10 gorgeous horses, but another more gorgeous horse comes in, you cull your herd, meaning you pick one to get rid of and bring the new one in. What happens to that one? They don't want to sell it because they don't want anybody having their brand name. They want it destroyed. I have done numerous negotiations saying this horse will never be shown, it will never be bred, nobody will ever know it exists, it will be under the radar, just don't kill it. And that's because they're breeders. They don't want anybody getting a $12,000 foal for $800 off kill. We have domesticated horses with backyard breeders, and they do it just for the money. They want to have a baby because it's cute. It's like bringing kittens into the world. It's like we don't need any more. The more that I spent my time with these mares, the more I saw how individual they are, how important their babies are to them, how they cherish being able to have a voice, being able to decide what is best for that baby and for themselves. And it's something that I had no idea. I mean, it was quite surprising to me. Quite surprising. It was a real big learning curve for me.
I bet. It sounds intense. It's a lot to take in and to become aware of. Which is the second question. It sounds like you were talking about a mare that, touched your heart very deeply. And I think you probably met a few.
Oh God, so many.
So it's like having one.
Yeah, it's like having a whole group of friends. They're all different. They all have their own personalities. But the saddest situation was, it had a happy ending, but the saddest mare that I met, her name was Malibu. And she was a Pregnant Mare, and she was standing in a barn up in Canada. And we worked with the Animali farms for a period of time. They worked and did tremendous, great stuff, getting all of those Pregnant mares out of those barns and into homes down here in the USA, preventing them from going to the slaughterhouse. I learned that even the farmers were upset that they were going to send their horses to the slaughterhouse, to the auction, because they were being driven out of business. The bottom line, the pharmaceutical company that buys the estrogen didn't want any of the humane regulations that were being put in place in Canada for the mares. So they put their whole operation over in China. So Premarin is still being manufactured. It's just being done in China now, where they don't have to give a darn about how they treat the mares. Okay, so back to the story, a little Malibu. We were able to rescue her. She had been on the Premarin line for 11 years. She had lost her first 10 foals right after birth. They let them live to be about 3 months old, and then they send them to the auction, which is to slaughter. Sometimes they send them live over to Japan because Japan likes foal sushimi, raw foal meat. These are just facts. So we brought Malibu to the ranch, and she was pregnant and very, very sad, very shut down. And we just let her be. We left the gate open to her stall. She could come out. She could go in. She eventually foaled a darling, sweet little filly. What was her
Maddie.
name? Maddie, yes. I think we named her after the woman who put up the money to get Malibu down to us. We let Malibu nurse that baby as long as she needed to. Most of the mares I have experienced will start weaning their babies at about 7 months. Maddie nursed this baby. No, Malibu nursed Maddie till she was almost 18 months old. She was absolutely not ready to give her up. And we just let her be. And she turned into this calm, sweet, happy, so grateful mare. And of course, the baby never had a bad day. She was here at PMR popping around. And it was just such a joy and such an affirmation to see what a difference it makes. And believe me, I've had many people say, oh, well, you're not going to win up at 6 months. What's the matter? Oh, well, I hope so. What's the matter with you? Yeah. And you just have to block it out. She's been laughed at because of her gentle ways. People have a tendency to not see the magical results that happen. If you just stay long enough and be quiet long enough, you would see what we can accomplish. But most people have put being with horses on their timeline, and they're treated like commodities, and they're there for their pleasure and not much else.
Yeah, absolutely true. Well, I love that. I would love to find a video that I would love to share later on here of Malibu and Maddie. And I remember them running around right here.
I know.
And she was like, where's my girl? Where's my girl?
Yep.
She was like, all of the mares are like that, but there was a real
intensity
with Malibu. She was just like, no. It was intense. I'm like, wow, that energy is.
Have you ever seen a dad running after a toddler and he kind of doesn't know what he's doing and the mother's laughing? That's kind of how Malibu was. It was like, oh my God, where'd she go? She was all over the place. Yeah. Happy little girl.
Well, and there's another that's a good lead into the next question is, how do we support the mares emotionally, not just physically? Right. I think the physical part is there too, but emotionally, I think is part of that, the weaning process and how that weaning process works. Because I feel like that's a huge part of that foal's development.
Right. I also feel that the physical stuff that the mares come in with is 10% of the issue. 90% of it is their emotional state of being. They have been used. They are so shut down. Some of them come from nice places. One gorgeous thoroughbred mare came from a breeding farm, beautiful farm, and they just didn't want her anymore. And she was in foal. So she wasn't abused or neglected or abandoned. She wasn't starving. She was gorgeous. But when you look at her and get to know her emotionally, she was just shut down. She was a broodmare. All her babies were taken away probably at 6 or 7 months, if not earlier.
Yeah.
So to watch her blossom, learn how to trust, see that she had a voice, an opinion, that it mattered, they become completely different animals. The way you interact with them, they're so grateful. And I've been told that the thoroughbred has just the biggest heart and the most forgiving nature, and they all do, but this horse was magnificent. She was so special. And so it's always the emotional piece that most people don't even look at, let alone appreciate what they're going through. And if you really stop and pause and take a peek and let them have their voice, it becomes really amazing.
It reminds me of like when we got the 3 from, I think they were from Washington, but all 3 of them lost their babies.
Yep.
That was Katniss,
Mm-hmm.
Maddie,
Uh-huh.
and Abby.
Right.
And when they came in, they were so skinny. There's body score, and they were body score 1.
Mm-hmm. They had all lost
2.
their babies. They had been discarded and were going to go to slaughter, and they had babies at their side. The babies all had pneumonia. I think the mares did too.
And strangles.
So we rescued all 3 mares and all 3 babies, and I had to put them on a ranch in Oregon and quarantine them because they couldn't come to us. They were so sick. And they were there for, a while before they came down. All 3 babies died. They were too sick. And the 3 mares arrived, skinny, shut down.
The halters burrowed into their noses.
Yeah.
Terrified.
Ribs hanging out.
Oh my God, it was awful. And the reason I'm mentioning that is that I remember like they were so frightened of what they were doing. Like they ended
what's
up
next?
At a foster property where I was managing things over there because we had influx. We had some rescues that we needed to bring in. There was the Morgan Hill thing that had happened. That's another story. And I just remember them getting off the trailer and they're just so frightened and they want to eat. They're ravenous, right? And so that slow feeding program actually gave me an opportunity to really be with them. And when I learned about their stories, I really tried to not hold that. I mean, it was really sad. Like I saw the sadness in them. Like their eyes were so, they were just
in mourning. They lost their babies. They didn't know what their fate held.
And so that feeding process, the slow 4 meals a day of wet feed and just trying to get their system to accept the food. It was really impactful, I feel, in the way they came through. So I started seeing the shine in their eyes, slowly, but surely it was there. And it was like you could almost like hear them saying, what's next? What's next? So there was a question. And then we moved them here. And it was like they finally settled. Like once they got here. So it's like they knew that wasn't their end spot. That wasn't where they were going to stay. But I feel like it was such a beautiful experience for me to watch horses that were so broken when they arrived.
I'm scared.
And their coat starts to shine. I mean, they were riddled. Like Katniss, she was coated in mud and fungus. She was all fungus. I couldn't touch her. She didn't want to be touched. She was terrified. And that went away shortly after they got here, and things just started opening up. They started opening up, and they got to see the rest of the herd. And I swear they talk.
Oh, of course they talk.
Because when they got here, they began to bond with the horses here. And there was like, it's almost like you could walk back there and hear them all talking, just like chatter. But sharing, you're okay, you're safe. And they saw the other horses and they could feel that sense of love that's always been surrounding all of them. Love is so powerful.
And they remember. They remember. Another story for another time, but I will get to it in another episode, but Angel was a mare that was on a feedlot that had a foal at her side. And she rescued 3 other abandoned foals as she watched them load their mothers onto the slaughter truck. So she came to us with 4 foals that were all identical. So at the end, we didn't really even know which one was her real foal. To her, they were all her foals.
Oh,
What was I going to say about
so
that?
sweet. Well, it's just amazing that she took them all on.
Oh, I just kind of felt like she was communicating to everybody that I'm fine now.
Yeah.
I'm good. These are mine.
Oh.
You know, we did milk buckets along with her nursing, but they definitely have conversations. They share with each other everything going on. That's why if you like do the herd observation, you guys have to come out and do this.
Yes,
And you sit and you
amazing.
watch. If there's something going on, one horse will begin and then they all go, whoo.
Yeah.
It's like there's this telepathy. They're all on the same wavelength. And you don't see that when they're standing in boxes in stables, you know, and get out once a day to go to work and then, you know, go back to their box.
Yeah. Yeah. The way that we've been managing horses forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, the options of having them out together as a family, you do get to see a lot more. There's a lot more dynamic going on. And just one more thing about that. I find that as I've observed the herd, so many health issues have just fizzled. Just fizzled.
Yeah.
You know, like
Disappeared.
it's just amazing when you are providing them the freedom, the forage, the friends.
Yep.
It's an enormous part of just the basics. And yeah.
And you know what I want to add real quick is that I know this all may sound kind of woo-woo and kind of out there, but this doesn't mean that you can't ride your horse. It doesn't mean that you can't have a great relationship and ride them all the time and have a great time. And next episode, I am going to give you a website that you all can go peek on and take a look at on Instagram about a woman who lives in Europe who rides her horses, has bred one of them, is raising the baby. She never puts any tack on their face. None. No bits, no bridles. She rides them bareback. She rides them in a saddle. These are happy, 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 healthy horses. So it's not so woo-woo. It's just beginning to appreciate that there's so much more than what we realize. They're just so much more than something to ride. They're these wonderful, individual, sentient personalities that have so much life, so much to give. And most horse owners kind of don't get it. It's all about their convenience and the time they have and making it work for them. So imagine what you could do with your horse if they were so looking forward to you coming out and that relationship was there.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And it shifts a lot of the dynamics even with the horse-human relationship.
Yep.
It's amazing. So, well, and I mean, on that topic, I think it's a beautiful, important piece of what we do is we do share about others. We want to highlight and network, you know, and we want to support one another because it's so important that we're all speaking the same language.
Yeah.
And recognizing like that the mares really do bring a whole new element to any situation. I mean, I've heard all these things. Oh, she's a red mare. She's a, you know, she's a hot mess. You know, I've seen those and they have come in, and what I've recognized is there's always a health issue. There's something else residing underneath, or there's something they've been saying and trying to communicate and they're not being heard. So there's a lot of behavior. Unfortunately, those mares end up at the auction lots
all the time. And
then we get them and we're like, what happened? Like, how did this happen? This horse is so sweet. But we've been examining them and getting to the core issue. And I think that gets missed a lot. That because of the inconvenience, because of the cost, because of the lack of knowledge, maybe, there's so much out there too. There's so much knowledge out there. It's overwhelming. And a lot of people like to give it to you. So you're like, you know, if you're a new horse owner, it's like, holy crap. Yeah. This isn't for me, but it's like, oh, please stop. Don't say that, because there's something in your heart that had you get this horse, and there's something in there it's
just an awareness. If people could just be made aware of what the possibilities are. Yeah. You know, of course you can ride, of course you can compete, of course you can breed. If, you know, you are responsible about your breeding, are you going to take care of this horse the rest of its life? We try and track every single horse that we rescue.
Yep.
Oh, that's what I was going to say about Angel. I went to go visit her a couple weeks ago.
Oh my God.
And I had rescued her years ago, and she's in sanctuary now up in the Petaluma area. And what I was going to share really quick, because I know we're running out of time, but I walked onto that property, and they have renamed her. It's a Hawaiian name. Let's say Malika or something. No, that's the other horse. I don't know. Anyway, I walked onto the property, age, and I called her by her old name. I said, Angel, and her head popped up, and she looked and walked right over to the fence. She put her nose right to my nose, and it was like, you can't tell me that she doesn't remember what happened and where she is now and how grateful she is. They talk. They know. They remember. They're amazing. So that's what I wanted to share. That Angel remembered me.
Brought tears to my eyes.
I know she's
It's amazing.
and she looks so good. She's just a chunky monkey. She's a big Palomino mare. She's lovely.
Get some pictures and I'll post them.
I will.
On the
I will.
community
I've
on
got pictures.
YouTube.
I do. I got Malibu. I got Maddie. I got, we've done this like 860 times in 19 years. We have more stories than
Many.
everybody has time for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why these questions are so important. But it's so difficult to stay on
Task. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much to share. But what I mean, as we close out, and we will be back on here, we'll do more. And if you guys want to put in the comments any questions you have for Lynn, if you have ideas for topics, feel free to share in the comments. But the last question, and a really important one is to me, is what would you want the world to hear, like from the mare, on the mare's behalf, on the mothers of the horse world? What would you think that they would want you to say for them?
That's a hard one because they want to be seen. They want to be heard. That's it. They want to be seen and heard, and they're not. For whatever million reasons why. They're just not. And if they could just have an opinion or have a voice, doesn't mean that if they say, I don't want to have a baby, that you can never have a baby with them. Yeah. It means that you're listening and that you're trying to understand what's going on with them and the why behind it. And that's huge because 90% of the horse people don't.
Yeah, because half the time when you get a no from them, they come back around when you accept the no.
Mm-hmm.
So
the
video I just posted, they are like, wait, you just gave me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had a choice.
But I'm curious. Can you show me what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That to me is a really. It's just.
I know.
I see it so much, and it's just over and over again. So it's very solidified for me.
And it's a path, for all of us. Like I said, when I rescued my first pony, Little Rose, I was going for the twofer. Oh, great, I get to rescue Pregnant Mare. Oh, I'll call this Pregnant Mare Rescue. This is great. Now I got a baby. And then all of a sudden it became like, well, wait a minute now. All this is happening and all this is changing. And all of a sudden these two are like really important to me on a different level than just saving their lives. And it's a path, it's a journey. And I think I would encourage everybody to think about it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Thank
so
you.
Much for your time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I look forward to our next interview.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I think so. So you guys take good care, and we will see you next time.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.